Now, the water in your tray, you need to put load on it. There should be a load. It is the load that actually protects the water from turning over. Snails naturally are animals that want to always hide under where it's cool. So if there is no load, enough load, now the amount of load does not really matter. What matters is what you are having is enough to hold the water in a spot. Because the truth is, your snails will always want to go under the tray. The reason being that the tray is even under the tray is cooler, and that is where snails like. And so your load helps to keep your water for a longer period. At least every snail in the pen can actually drink of the water. Now, the water we give to our snail, please no, don't give treated water to your snails. Avoid giving your snails water that have been treated with iodine and all that. You don't give your snails treated water. Now, if where you have access to water, if the water is always treated, this is what you do. Fetch the water into a bucket. Put the bucket under the sun for at least 24 hours. Let the sun hit the water. When the sun hits the water, it becomes natural again for your snails to consume. If you use treated water for your snails, the disadvantage is they are going to die. And the truth is, you cannot do without water, which means you must pour water into the pen. If you're wetting them, they will get contaminated with the water. If you're putting it in the tray for them to drink, you also give them a contaminated water. So avoid giving them treated water. If you must use the water that is treated, put it under the sun for at least 24 hours before you use it. And then if you are using, if you are using the borehole, that's where you get the treated water. But if you're not using the borehole, you can just fetch from the well. If you have a well, you can fetch from anywhere to give to your snails. It's very okay. Sometimes I will tell some persons it's better to fetch from the natural well than from the tank, because the natural water passes through filtration, and so it comes out very pure and okay for your snails to consume. Talking about watering the pen, watering your snail pen, you need to also consider the amount of water you are putting in and how you are also doing the how, the amount, and the frequency, that is the number of times you do this weekly. It's not like the earth pen where you can water it twice a day, every morning, every evening, every morning, every evening. All right. In this pen, if you are using the Soilless, most times I tend to put my water in can so that I can actually measure the amount of water I am putting in each of the pen. You don't have to put a whole bottle of water in this pen. Now, if you look at the pens, in this pen is smaller than this pen. This means that the amount of water I'm going to be putting in this pen should not be equal with the amount of water I'm going to be putting on the other pen. The reason being that the bigger the pen, the more water you should also put. Because definitely, as the pen are also big, the numbers of snails in them are also differs. Like I said, we don't have dimensions in pen. So you build your pen according to the space that you have. Now let's go back to the watering of your snail pen, your Soilless pen. Now, using a container of such with a tiny hole, you just sprinkle the water on the leaves. As you can see, I'm just sprinkling the water on the leaf. I'm going to empty what I have here in this pen. As we are doing this, you can see this snail is already moving as the water is touching them. You pour the water around the leaves only. We do this twice weekly here. In our farm, we practice wetting of the pen twice weekly. We don't wet the pen every day. Now, with this amount of water that I put in this pen, it can serve them 3 days, 2 days. And then we'll come again and then also wet. Now, because you are using a soilless and you are adding little amount of water, your train should not run dry of water. Your train should always have water in it. You can increase the number of train for your water. You can make it 3, you can make it 4, depending on the numbers of snails in the particular pen. And so, wetting this is with this, that's what. And then, if you are not using these, maybe you want to be pouring the water with hand. You know, some persons do use their hand to sprinkle. Now what you do is you just sprinkle around the areas the leaves are settled. The areas where you have leaves, that's where you just wet. Now don't just pour the water. If you are pouring the water, it gets concentrated at a particular place. So as you are sprinkling it, it helps to reach every corner of the pen.